Hi all, you may be looking for an opening which is really solid with the black pieces. So you might just want to try and draw with black sometimes, or at least have access to a really solid opening system. Let's have a look at an example from Magnus Carlsen, which is a game which might not be mega exciting, but pretty interesting if you're looking to build a repertoire based on the Nimzo Indian or the Ragozin system. Let's have a look. Wang, who is rated 2726, was playing white against Magnus Carlsen in round 8 of the Grand Swiss Isle of Man Tournament 2019. Let's see how Magnus played. D4, we have D5, C4, E6. So far it looks as though we might just be going into the Queen's Gambit declined. But we get the Ragozin variation with the Bishop B4 move. So a cross between the Nimzo Indian and the Queen's Gambit declined. So very interesting perks. We have here Queen B3, which hits that bishop. Now black usually plays C5 here, which you can see actually at that free interactive course there, Kingscrusher TV /Ragozin. There's some sample lines to train on. There's an interesting novelty move you might also be interested in here though, which Magnus plays, which is A5. So this might sometimes give perks, once the bishop is supported, to be able to play A4 and A3. Of course white has moves, so that's not going to happen immediately. So we have bishop G5 is the move chosen from white. C5. Okay, so white is at a certain crossroads here. This position has been seen before. White played here D takes C5. Just to see some alternatives here, Rook D1 does allow this A4, which could be useful here for trying to weaken the diagonal with A3, kind of puncturing the C3 square with that kind of queenside form pawn. And black should be absolutely fine in this variation, for example like this. And in fact, after bishop A3, you know, if anyone's got a small edge here, after winning this centre pawn, black's going to be better. Let's have a look at this again. So Rook D1. As an example, A4. This is actually just really tricky. Black could also even just castle here as well, but A takes B2 is the critical thing. Okay, so 7 Rook D1. Let's have a look at 7 E3 as an alternative here. A4, Queen C2. This is actually quite interesting as well for black. In fact, very interesting. There's a tactical opportunity based on this undermining with Queen G6, believe it or not. It provides a fascinating Sicilian possibility. After Queen takes G6, can you guess what would you play with black here? And this actually demonstrates the potentially deadly nature of this A5 move. A takes B2 is actually possible. Yeah, because if the queen returns back, bishop takes C3, and the bishop supports this. So that's absolutely winning for black. So yeah, there is some venom here. Let's have a look at this again. E3, A4, Queen C2, A3, bishop takes, queen takes, bishop D3. This line again, it's just what does white do? If white offers G2 here by playing bishop D3, A takes B2 first, queen takes, and although initially this might seem quite dynamic and risky for black, it turns out actually this is more unsafe. More unsafe for white's king after f5, c takes, bishop a3, knight b4. White's king is actually starting to be much worse than black's king. So some really interesting lines there behind the scenes at this juncture where d takes c5 was played. So d takes c5. We have knight a6, a3, and here is a critical game actually did occur from this position. C takes d5 occurred in a pretty high level game, Maxim Gogin versus Sanam Shigorov in 2017, which was actually a win for black in 32 moves. So there's an interesting reference game there. But okay, here, what's going on here? After d takes c5, knight a6, we have a3, and now knight takes c5, hitting the queen, queen c2, And Magnus just was able to simplify here, getting a really equal position very easily, actually. He took on c3, as you might expect, knight ce4, and this keeps the structure intact here. We have bishop takes f6. If the queen went to c2, then black could just collect that dark square bishop and play d takes c4. And if anything, black is actually better here after queen b6. This is actually a really dangerous position for white. However, it's cut. So that's just better there. And if queen c2, then bishop d7. Black has a clear lead in development here and can gain another tempo on the queen. And it gets really, really tricky. With this imminent threat of bishop b5 here, this is actually very, very bad for white. Yeah, for example, like that is a disaster. And instead of castling, if bishop takes b5, that's actually much better for black. Look at this, hitting the knight, the king can't even castle. So there's all sorts of nasties if bishop takes f6 wasn't played. So Magnus has really just equalised very, very easily, it seems, with the black pieces in this Ragozin system. So after knight takes f6, c takes d5, keeping the structure intact, doesn't want an isolated pawn. Okay, the bishop's a slight issue to be addressed. e4, knight f6, bishop d3. Here, no better is e5. That just gives black the d5 square. We can just go around the d5 square quite comfortably, and that's absolutely fine for black. So, so bishop d3, bishop d7, and Magnus was able to get a really comfortable draw pretty soon after bishop e8. So this provides support, giving that parking space to go to d7. And potentially with a3 being played here, the b3 square is sensitive. After knight c5, there'll be a threat of knight b3. So f4, knight d7. White decided to just take there. So just really accepting not much was gained with the white pieces. If knight f3, knight c5, before mentioned threat, knight b3 check now. And this is just absolutely fine for black. So knight takes d7. Magnus has just aimed to equalise with black, which he has done, and yet the rooks come off. Okay, both sides don't seem too bothered about going for a draw on this particular day. After e5, f takes, king e6. There's no point playing f5 here. This black's got that nice c5 square in this endgame, so even if a4 is played to suppress b4, this is not a liability. It seems, and this will be absolutely fine for black. This is an even position, so there's no point doing f5. So f takes, and okay, so the e4 pawn is a target, but not enough for black to play for a win with. So pretty soon, this was a draw. So yeah, if you're looking for a super solid, system, the Ragozin variation is a great one. You might be, for example, playing a lot of King's Engines or other openings like me, and sometimes you get a disadvantage, but sometimes you might just want to play solidly with the black pieces. So there's a repertoire here well worth checking out, free to try all the variations to be tested on, interactive at Chessable, Kingscrusher TV/Ragozin, and you can also try this spicy move as shown in this game, this a5 move. But the usual move is c5 to be aware of. But a5 has also got some interesting perks to it, so well worth investigation, maybe as a surprise weapon as well within the Ragozin. Okay, thanks very much.